Hi guys, welcome back to the Chronicles of Zachary. Of course, I'm Zachary, and this is my marathon filming night. This is video 2. Again, I'm joined here by my good friends, Jen and Rex.
Hey!
And we have been just chilling. We took a little bit of a break. We're talking about men and how trifling y'all are. But we still love you guys for supporting. So if you are a trifling man and you found your way to this channel, thank you. It's the least you could have done. But okay, so in the last video, I said I was going to, put up a tweet, giving you guys a choice of which video you wanted to see first. And of course, like I predicted, you guys are messy and you wanted to see Sugar Daddy Gone Wrong first. So there are gonna be some things in the next video that you see that chronologically happened before this video, but y'all are messy. So you mess with the flow of things. But again, I give the people what they want here on this channel. So it's no problem, we're gonna make it work. And now I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I think you guys just like to laugh at my trauma. And it's okay, because I can laugh about it now. But I want to really stress that this was traumatizing. Like I really went through something here, and I was young when I went through what I went through. Unlike the accidental homewrecker story, which happened over the span of months, this accidental Sugar Daddy Gone Wrong, this happens over the course of a few nights, maybe 2 nights. But it was just so much. So let's get right into it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna laugh. If I just start to laugh, just know that I've sucked in some tears if I start to laugh. So I'm gonna take you back to freshman year. I was living in my dorm and everything. I had a really nice job on campus that really allowed me to quit my job that I was working, that I had transferred to. And so I wasn't out at the time. The only people that knew were my best friend at the time, my other best friend Kristen, and someone in the dorms that I had met that I'd become really good friends with named Angelica. And those 3 had my location, and like I said, they knew, my secret. No one else knew, not even Yolanda didn't even know, and we had gone to Texas State together from high school. I'm pretty sure she knew, but I hadn't actually told her. So, it's a difference. And so, one night, I'm sitting here just bored, and I downloaded one of these freaking apps, these chaotic, hectic apps. Please, to the gays, stay off those apps. There's just nothing good ever comes from them, and leave them in wherever you have to leave them. But anyways, I digress. So I get on, I don't even have a picture attached to my profile because like I said, I'm not out. And those people on that campus freshman year, boy, did they love to talk. And there was a group message with 700-800 people. And I was just like, you know what? I have to keep a low profile because I don't know why I cared so much and why I was so scared of people knowing, because it's not like they were my family or friends from high school. I really don't know why I cared so much looking back at it, but it was what it was. And so anyways, I get on this app and this man sends me a message. The first thing I notice is the man is 35 years old. I'm like, whoa, dude, I'm a fresh 18 at this point, literally 2-3 months being 18. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't know about this. I really don't know. And then he's just talking and sending pictures. And I'm like, oh, he's cute though. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go over there. And so he's like, I'm like, oh, I don't have a car though. And he's like, oh, well, I'll send an Uber to come pick you up. And I loved that because I was like, I wasn't gonna get in your car. I know it's crazy because I was gonna go to his house, but I was young and stupid and I wasn't processing thoughts completely. I just had all this freedom and I was just running wild. So he tells him he'll send the Uber. He sends some more pictures and he's like, and I'm really looking for someone to spoil. Now, one of my other friends that I had met in the dorm, she had a sugar daddy. And this man was like treating her well. I'm not gonna say her name because, you know, again, this is not to get people caught up. But he would literally take her to the mall and she would come back to the dorm with like $1,400 worth of stuff. Like he was tricking. And so I was like, that deserves to be my life. Like I deserve nice things, like, you know. And if this man wants to treat me, he was a white man. I was like, if I'm gonna get my reparations not from the government, then I'll get them from this man here because I deserved them. And so I ended up letting this man send the Uber, but I didn't leave from my dorm because I was like, I'm not gonna give him my address just in case. So I walked down the hill, like to the furthest dining hall on campus. And I was like, just have the Uber pick me up like around this area and I'll find it. So he does. And if you've ever been in San Marcos, this town is like 5 minutes long, 3 minutes wide. And I look up and I'm on the outskirts of San Marcos, Texas. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what did I do? The sun is going down, like the pit in my stomach just dropped. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die out here. I just started like thinking the worst. It was like a wave of something hit me. Probably my intuition, but like I said, I was dumb and I was young and I wasn't processing things or taking things at face value. So I still went ahead with it. So I get to his house. He's standing outside waiting for me. It's a little creepy. It's getting weird. So I walk up to this man. The first red flag. So remember, I told you he was 35 on his profile. That man on his best day was 42. Oh. Okay? There is no way that in this lifetime, on that day that I met him, that he was 35. He was 35 at some point, but not on that day. And so I was like, oh shit, should I leave? I was like, you know what, if I try to leave, like, is he gonna try to kill me? And I was like, I guess I should just go in. Again, guys, listen, nothing in the story is gonna make a whole lot of sense because I was dumb, young, and horny. I forgot that one. So I go in this man's house. Red flags just keep they're like hitting me, attacking me, assaulting me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in. So the first one, he doesn't have furniture in his house, but instead he has like 4 or 5, like 65-inch TVs and a blow-up mattress in his living room. And I'm like, is he like laundering money? Like, is this a cult? Like, you know, my mind is just racing and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck did I get myself into? But I'm like, if he has all these TVs, maybe he has money. Like maybe, you know, this was something real. And so he's like, do you want a tour of the house? I'm like, I guess this is what old people do. Like they give you tours of their house. But I'm like, I really don't care like about your fucking house. Oh my God, I said I was gonna stop cussing. Okay. I really don't care about your house. And so I noticed like when we went out on the backyard, I was like, wow, I haven't been in a house in a while. When I went to the backyard, I noticed we were in the neighborhood that one of my good friends lived in. And so I was like, okay, if something really goes down, I'm gonna just have to hop fences, which I don't know how to do. I was like, I'm just gonna have to hop fences and run over to this girl's house, and her mother are going to just have to accept me in like a refugee because I'm scared. But you know, I kind of did my due diligence while I was on the way. I looked up his property. I looked up the property value. So I mean, I really didn't need the tour of the house because I knew how much the house was worth because I had done some research in the Uber. Because I was like, where am I going? And the house had a nice little property value on it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So I was like, if he owns this is an asset, okay? And you know, I'm money minded. So back to the house. So he's taking me around the house and everything. And we were just outside for a long time. And I was like, you know, it's just really hot. Like it's gotten really humid. And I'm like, I don't really want to do anything really now because I'm like hot and sweaty. And I told him that. And he was like, oh, well, you can use my shower. And I was like, That was supposed to be my ticket out, man. So he leads me to his bathroom. No floor mats. There was one towel. Another big red flag. This grown man had Axe body wash in his shower. We used to use Axe in middle school when we were prepubescent children. So I hadn't had an encounter with Axe in years. So I was really shocked to see it in a grown man's house, especially a homeowner's house. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I take a little shower, I do a little rinse off. It was really weird because he left the door open. So like, I'm in the shower and I can see him in the kitchen, which in hindsight I really kind of preferred because I needed to keep an eye on him because, like I said, my nerves are starting to get bad. Like, I just feel really tense. And so then I come out and gives me like some clothes to put on or whatever. And then the next thing I know, he starts talking to me about his past relationships. Red flag. I'm not here for that. At least I didn't think I was. Maybe there was a miscommunication between the two of us. But he starts talking to me about his ex and how he had to let his ex go. I forgot why he said he had to let his ex go, but it was just very stupid and very dumb. And I was like, I know you did not break up that man at your big age because of that. But I mean, he told me that the boy was also young, was also black. So I was like, okay, you have a fetish is what I'm starting to walk into. But people with fetishes, they really are something at this time that was really, I didn't really have a lot of encounters with them. I didn't really have a lot of experience. So I'm like, I know what this is, but I don't know what this is. I just know that it's very weird. So the next thing I know, we're sitting there and then he starts talking about me and he's referring to me like with all these food names and I'm just disgusted because I hate that. Like, I have a name. You can comment on my looks and like how you feel about me without relating me to food in every sentence. So he's like, tell me about yourself, my little Hershey drop, and I'm like,
no.
I met you 45 minutes ago, and really what I thought I was coming here for was something, bada bing, bada boom, out the door. And it was not that. So at this point, I'm just getting really weirded out. He's still telling me about his house. And he's like, the house isn't level and it was built on like a dam or something. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is not House Hunters. Like, I don't care. I'm not about to sell this house for you. I don't know why you're overloading me with this information. Like, are you about to sign the house over to me? If not, please shut up. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I have to go. I really, really have to go. And so I'm like, but how do I get out of here? Because there was something going on with like my card and I didn't have it linked to like an Uber or Lyft situation. So that's why I was kind of stuck there. And I was like, how am I gonna get out of here? So I was like, oh man, like it's Tuesday, I completely forgot. Me and my cousin, we go see a movie every Tuesday. Like, he's probably, been blowing my phone up. He's probably wanted to know where I've been. So I was like, yeah, let me check my phone. So, I look at my phone, pretend there's like a bunch of calls and messages. I'm like, oh my God, like he's so upset. Like, I have to get to the dorm like immediately because he's not gonna like this. This is really our cousin bonding time, and he doesn't like when it's interrupted and I have to go. And he's like, well, I mean, you didn't come all the way over here for nothing. And I was like, oh my God, he's gonna kill me. Like, when he said that, it sent chills up and down my body, like at the same time. So the sensation I felt when he said that, I was like, oh my God, they're about to like have a 2020 documentary on me. And so I decided to let the man get me head. I did. I'm not gonna lie.
As you should.
You know what? Because I thought about it for a second and I said, you know what? I didn't come over here for nothing, and you wasted a good hour of my time talking about yourself, talking to me about things that I don't care about, and that was not the goal, that was not the intention, that was not what we discussed and agreed upon. That was not why I got in this Uber and came to Timbuktu. I mean, Jen, I was like past the high school. I was like in between San Marcos and Seguin.
Take what you deserve, reparations.
Reparations.
And then some.
By the way, if you've made it to this point in the video and you are not black, send me money. Black History Month. Reparations. What's up? Yeah, no. So, I'm kidding, but I'm not. My Venmo will be below. So, the next thing I know, I did what I needed to do. I got what I needed to get out of the situation. He was like, "How was that? Was that good?" And I was like, "It was really good. Thanks, man. It was fantastic. Yeah, you rocked my world." It really didn't, okay? But like I said, I had a fear of dying, so I was just appeasing this white man and saying what I needed to say to make it back home. Because like I said, my parents didn't know, my sisters didn't know, my grandparents, no one knew. So can you imagine if my parents got a call that their son, that their baby boy died at the hand of some old white man that he was sexually involved with, and they knew nothing about my sexuality. So I knew I had to get out of there. So, I could at least have the conversation with my parents. I mean, it still took like 2-3 years for me to have the conversation with my parents after that day, but I was more determined than ever to do it after that night. But I digress. So we're just sitting there and he just wants to keep talking and keep talking. And I keep telling this man that I have to be at the 8 o'clock showing of this movie that I'm really not going to see, but I just need to get out of there. And so he starts talking to me about black women. And because I guess he asked me if I was bisexual. And at the time I was identifying as bisexual. And so he was telling me that he prefers dating black men over black women because black women are just loud and annoying and this, that, and the third. And I was like, oh, brother. I was like, I really have to go. Like no more games. I'm like, okay, wrap it up. I was like, are you gonna be an Uber back or like what's going on? Because I need to know at this point. Like, do I need to call somebody? Like, please help me out. So he's like, how about I take you? And I'm like, oh, how about you not? I was like, I'd rather not. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, this wasn't supposed to be that. And he was like, no, don't worry. Like, I wouldn't mind. You're already here. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So we go out and he's gonna take me home. And so I start heading for the back seat of the truck. And he's like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, like I'm gonna sit in the back to make it look like, you're my Uber driver. So when we pull up to campus, nobody thinks anything. He's like, that's smart. And I was like, who are you telling? Like, I am fighting for my life. Who are you telling? Like, I know it's smart. I'm thinking on the fly here, like, please. So we're going to campus. And he's like, basically asked me to be his house manager. He's like, my little chocolate drop, you can stay in the house whenever you want. I have to go out of town on business. I'll pick you up and drop you off. Sir, I'm a freshman. I go to class on campus. I don't have a car. And you live in Timbuktu. You don't live around campus. You don't live campus adjacent to where I hop on a bus or something. You live in Timbuktu. So I'm like, yeah. He's talking to me and I'm trying to give him a little bit, but not too much. But like I said, we're driving through San Marcos. So I'm like, okay, if anything really goes down, I'm just gonna tuck and roll out of this car. And I mean, it was a monster truck. Like I was elevated, so I was gonna have to dive down into the road. So we're approaching my dorm and I had directed him up the hill. And anybody that knows Texas State knows that when you go up the Moore Street Hill, there's Sayers Falls, Blanco, and then San Gabriel, Angelica, I don't know. But there's like 3 sets of dorms up the street. So I had a job on campus freshman year. I worked in the mailrooms. So I worked in my dorm, I worked at the dorm at the end of the street, and then I worked at 2 other dorms around the campus. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want this man to know where I live because what if he comes back? Because I'm gonna block him. Like on the app, he was already blocked actually on the app. I blocked him in his car. That's how disrespectful I was feeling. He gave me his number. He was like, put my number in your phone. And so I was like, okay, yeah. And then he was like, no, like actually put it in your phone. So I was like, oh. So I typed his number in my notes section and deleted it right after, like while I'm sitting in the car. Cause you know, he just needed to see me type it down or whatever. So I typed his number in my notes and then deleted it right after. So I'm like, I do not want this man to know where I live, cause I just imagine him coming back and causing a scene. So I direct him to the end of the street. I have him drop me off at that dorm. Luckily my key, I didn't know if my key was gonna work like just to get in the dorm normally, or if it only works when I worked. So I was like, ooh, like that's really gonna be something. Where I try to open this door and then it doesn't open. So I go, luckily the key opens, and then they had like, you could go upstairs and then kind of watch over from the street. And so I went upstairs, I watched that man drive away, and I called my friend Angelica and I was like, Angelica, meet me at, I don't even know what food dining hall that was right there. I was like, meet me right there, because it just went down. Like I'm scared. I just got back. Like I'm petrified. Honestly, that story of what happened to me, I believe that it was the inspiration for Get Out. So Jordan Peele, you owe me a check. You owe me an Oscar, okay? Because I got out, okay? But I was fighting for my life and I was petrified. And moral of the story, stay off these stupid apps, because they are not committed to anything but causing chaos and destruction in your life. Nothing good comes from it. There's not quality men on there. Letting in on the secret that I had to learn over the years and through experience. But we made it. And I can look back on it and laugh. But for a while, I literally was so scared to leave my door. It's so bad, but like I missed class for like a week. I'm not even gonna hold you on that. But you guys wanted Sugar Daddy Gone Wrong. There it is. Hey guys, just a reminder to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really liked our content, share it with a friend.